Before that, I'm going to cut across to the latest developments coming in right here on India Today. We hear that petitioners in Karnataka now, those who pushed for hijab inside classrooms, are all set to move the Supreme Court. This is the next move. We hear statement coming in by the advocate Shahul for the petitioners. He says that we are consulting on the issue. Once the detailed order comes out, we will analyze it and then move an SLP before the Supreme Court. Now, this was expected. No surprises. Petitioners now wanting to move the Supreme Court on the same matter. So far, their argument in court, the petitioners and the council have been constantly that hijab is an essential practice in Islam, which has now been disproved by the Karnataka High Court. High Court, after hearing and deliberating 2 weeks after hearing much of the arguments of the petitioners' council, have said hijab is not an essential practice in Islam. Now, petitioners wanting to move the Supreme Court, will they have sanctity in their argument still? That remains to be seen, what the Supreme Court will deliberate once the matter reaches Supreme Court. But KV Dhananjay joining us. Mr. Dhananjay, these are legal provisions that the petitioners are now going to be exhausting. They're going to be headed to the Supreme Court. What do you think is expected? How do you look at this move next?
Well, it was expected because I think the matter, very senior lawyers from the Supreme Court came down to argue this matter. So if the High Court's verdict would be against the petitioners, it was all too expected that the matter would go up to the Supreme Court. For your information, tens of thousands of cases are lodged in the Supreme Court every year, and the Supreme Court, on an average, gives out 900 detailed judgments each year. So it was impossible for anybody to think that this matter would not go up to the Supreme Court on appeal. It is going to go up to the Supreme Court on appeal. And I've been watching the stand of the Karnataka government since morning. And they've been saying that whatever be the judgment, everybody will have to just not protest and things like that. Yes, I think that's actually a sound caution. But I also want to remind our Karnataka government that, if we go back to 1975, when Srimati Indira Gandhi came out with a draconian emergency, 9 high courts had struck down that emergency on the ground that you can't arbitrarily arrest citizens of India. And, though you have suspended the constitution. And the Supreme Court reversed all of those 9 decisions and held what Srimati Indira Gandhi had done, of course, without any basis, to impose emergency was lawful and valid. But then what happened after the Supreme Court said it was lawful and valid? People didn't say, oh, great, the Supreme Court has now finally given its verdict. Let's just abide by Srimati Indira Gandhi's emergency. Let's just go and get ourselves arrested. That didn't happen. The country erupted in protest. And then what happened? 2 years. Srimati Indira Gandhi had to reverse the emergency. So it's one thing for people to say that, okay, courts are final. It's another thing for people to recognize that sometimes courts can err in a very big way, so much so that in hindsight, we would see that, oh, wait, the court made a huge mistake, because the court, of course, certainly has acted honestly.
But right now, with the Karnataka High Court pronouncing this verdict, it almost now has become holy grail for the Karnataka government. And from what we see will be the next move is many of those institutions that earlier allowed hijab will now issue a blanket ban. So we are not talking about these 6 students, petitioners who you see on your screens here, who've been fighting for hijab inside that one college of Udupi. This will be more or less a norm and a scene situation that will unfold in several other colleges and institutions in Karnataka. As we saw right after that interim order, we saw a lot of commotion, many of them are being asked to remove the hijab right at the gates of their institutions, etc. And now it will almost be a decision viewed as holy grail by the Karnataka government. In fact, they are already appealed to institutions to follow the Karnataka High Court's verdict. It's already an appeal that the Karnataka government has made, and we will see now extensively all those institutions that earlier